On 882 6PR, this is Perth Overnight with Fred Mafrica.
I'm joined in the studio by Rocco Chili. Now, he's a local author who's written a great book. I'll tell you what it's called. It's called The Solar Aviator.
Yep.
Tell me what that's all about.
Well, it's I'll give you the outline of it. It's about a lady streaker, streakers, aircraft flying backwards, aircraft flying forwards, aircraft doing aerobatics, forced landings on a highway, while a road train is coming on the opposite side.
Exciting.
A wild ride on a boat in Mandurah, getting lost in bad weather in Southern Cross. That was a bit hairy, and a wild striptease in a public place. Public swimming pool. Namely,
Beatty Park.
Yeah, Beatty Park, yeah. It's based on fact and Perth, Perth during the early 80s, and it has a very important part of WA history and Australian history on it.
Now, your book's about flying adventures. I'm assuming that you've got some sort of background as a pilot.
Yes, I'm an ex-pilot, and every event I experienced, I incorporated in the book. They are true or can come true, and they're very feasible to come true anyway.
Now, one thing that I'm really interested in, Rocky, is
Yes.
the aircraft flying backwards. How did you do that?
Well, a light aircraft in the book, had a stalling speed of 45 knots, okay? And when you fly a light aircraft into headwind of, say, 60 knots, the aircraft will fly backwards at a speed of 15 knots. It's the strong wind, bringing the aircraft back, because it's a matter of calculations. 60 knots minus 45 is 15 knots. So you're actually flying backwards 15 knots. It's a strong wind, actually. You know what I mean? So anyway, and if you adjust the throttle, you can even make it hover like a helicopter.
So staying still, you
Yes, exactly. So if you, like the wind, the headwind is 60 knots, and you accelerate the power, you put the power, and the plane goes 60 knots. So the headwind 60 knots, and the aircraft is flying 60
It
knots.
should stay still.
So that means it's zero.
That neutralises itself.
And it hovers like an airplane.
Now,
anyway, back with the story.
Yep.
A hero and his mate build a large solar aircraft. Okay, they fall in love, then begin a long and perilous flight from Perth over the Australian desert, across the Pacific Ocean, and back to our hero's home, Los Angeles, and not use a single drop of petrol.
Okay. How did they fly with the solar cells when they encountered bad weather?
Yes. Yeah, so that's a good question. They use a turbo engine, you see. It's like a petrol engine turbo, but it's very powerful. To get them above the clouds. Once above the clouds, they used two heavy-duty motors that propelled the aircraft to a cruise speed of 300 knots. Anyway, being an ex-pilot, and after a considerable amount of research, found that the aircraft in question can be built, fly the distance and more.
What proof have you got that the aircraft can be built to fly that distance above the clouds?
Well, I got the proof from a Solar Challenger. They flew the English Channel in 1981. It was built by Paul McCready and his team. It had 16,128 cells, and the power that it generated, went straight to the electric motor that turned the propeller. You can get this information on the YouTube, and it's all fact, really, because I'm actually reading it out because I can't remember. But anyway, it cruised at 30 miles an hour and flew 156 miles in about 5.5 hours. It reached an altitude of 11,500 feet. Now, for a little aircraft like that, it went fairly high. That was 1981. So I more or less based my story like that. But later they went for duration and not speed. Okay. And with the help of NASA, they built the flying wing. And they set a world endurance record for staying in the air for longer than 82 hours. I mean, a normal jet airline will cost, staying there for about 15 hours, okay? And they stayed there for 82 hours, okay? And this wing was radio controlled.
Fair enough.
And most probably was radio controlled at Houston anyway. But, and also they set a world altitude record, this little flimsy thing, of 96,000 feet. That's near the edge of space.
Wow.
That's where Sputniks are. Because Sputniks, they used to orbit at a low. They had a low orbit. If you remember those days.
Yes.
But the flying had a setback, and it could only fly at 23 miles per hour. See, because during the day the solar cells charged a bank of batteries, so it could stay in the air during the night. See, as simple as that. See, also this chappie here is Bertrand Piccard, built a solar cells not so long ago called the Solar Impulse, and they intend to fly around the world in small hops of 1,500 kilometers. I think at the moment they are flying across the USA. Okay, they're started already, and that has a wingspan of about 150 feet. It's about as big as a 747.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah, it's big, but it weighs the weight is about as like a car. It's some weight as a car. But his speed is also restricted to 45 miles an hour because during the day he charges a bank of batteries and uses the power from batteries to propel the electric engines, but it's got two engines, during the day and to get them above bad weather. But instead, my concept is not restricted by batteries because it's a huge aircraft, has hundreds and thousands of solar cells, and the power from the cells goes straight to the electric motors. The larger the aircraft, the more solar cells and the higher the speed. It's as simple as that. I'll repeat it again. The larger that's my concept. The larger the aircraft, the more solar cells and the higher the speed. In my story, the solar aircraft cruises at 305 knots.
Okay.
And for a sequel, maybe in another book to come, our hero builds a gigantic solar aircraft that follows the sun around the world and plans to fly around the world in 24 hours and not use a single drop of petrol. I mean, that's free.
That's amazing.
It's free. What else can you get for Christmas?
What's stopping you building this aircraft, Rocky? Do you need sponsors?
Well, if I had sponsors, not only would I build this aircraft, but I would make a movie out of the book as well, as I already changed it to a screenplay.
It's amazing. From what you told me earlier and what you told me now, obviously, the book is very interesting. It's hilarious as well. It's entertaining. And it's based on fact and has a very important part of Australian history in it. It should be a good book, I think, Rocky. And let's wrap up because I know we're getting close to time. I wish you lots of luck. I wish you all the best of success. Now, it's very hard to sort of cover the whole story here on 6PR in just 10 or 15 minutes. But can I ask you, Rocky, if we want to buy the book, where can we get it?
Yeah, you'll find it at Amazon and Smashwords in the net. The book is called The Solar Aviator and is priced at $5.99 US.
Sounds good, Rocky.
Yeah.
And we look forward to reading your sequel then.
Well, hopefully you will.
Sounds great.
But I'm hoping to... I'm hoping all you guys will buy my book out there first.
Sounds like a great story. Thank you very much for being in today, Rock.
Well, thank you for having me.